Cage, back from the break. I thought we'd have a look at where the Crows and the Power are sitting right now. Crows, of course, up against Essendon this weekend. Now, the injury list after the break's a big concern for both clubs, Cage. The Crows have got 13 injured players on their list at the moment, but we tried to break them down, you and I, before we came up. 7 of the top line players,
key players.
Bock may play this weekend. Seller, Burton, McKay, McLeod, Knights and Otten are out. Now, Essendon, who they play on the weekend, have got 4 injuries, Cage, with 3 top-line players. Basically saying you're going to go in the game, worst-case scenario for the Crows, 7 top-line players out against 3 for Essendon. Best-case scenario, 6 top-line players out for the Crows and only 2 for Essendon.
Well, it's been the story of the Crows season when we hark back to the start of the year, Jen, and the start's so important. They had, 16 players injured 2 weeks before the start of the home and away, and things haven't really improved dramatically. You know, they've had Bock for 2 weeks, John Cock for 3, then misses a couple, and that's been the story of their season, and that has hurt them. Now, okay, we saw some promising signs last week, particularly from the youngsters, but again, they're still affected by injuries, and it does hurt you.
No doubt about it. Of course, they've got Essendon, then they've got West Coast, and then suddenly Geelong, so they might get McLeod back. I don't think Burton will be back.
No.
Bock would probably be back.
They'll win their next 2.
But that'll be a test for them.
They'll win the next 2. What about Port Adelaide's run?
Well, look, they're not going too much better, to tell you the truth, Cage. Of course, they got Fremantle at Subiaco on Saturday night. The injuries after the break for the Power, Cage, they've got 11 injured players, 8 top-line players.
There you go.
Ebert and Solder are possibilities for this weekend, but then Gray and Hartlett, I know you're concerned about them. Cracker, Surgeon, Pettigrew and Treadray are out. So Fremantle have got 6 injuries, but it's only 2
key players.
of their key players. You're right. So best case scenario in this game, Power with 8 injuries, top line players. Fremantle with 2. Best case scenario for the Power and for Fremantle is 6 top line players out for Power and only 2 for Fremantle.
Well, again, Port Adelaide behind the 8 ball, going over to Subiaco, playing Fremantle, who came back strongly last week. But the worry for Port Adelaide is young Robbie Gray and young Hartlett. Now, they're 2 of their young guns. They've just re-signed them, General, for another 2 years, and they've missed 7 weeks of footy with back soreness and hamstring complaints. That has to be an area of gigantic concern. It has to be.
Yeah, well, they'd sent them off to the Institute of Sport in Canberra. They've come back with a modified program. They think this week off, and then they should be right to go.
Well, then the question begs, how long again before they break down?
Go again.
See, and you can't afford your young guns to be doing what's happening to Gray and Hartlett. That is a real concern for Port Adelaide. You know, they could lose their next 4. They could lose 10 on the trot.
Well, not looking good for either club right now, with both clubs
10 on the trot.
Big injuries,
General,
Cage.
how would you feel, General?
Get out of town. That's how I'd feel, I tell you right now. But those things happen in sport, Cage.
That's footy. That's footy.